interested to pick your brain.
I love it. I love it.
We're back live from Radio Row. Happy to be joined by Jordan Poyer. I feel like we've already had a full combo before the combo, but great to have you up here, man.
It's good
How
to
you
be
feeling?
here. I appreciate you guys having me on here today.
Jordan's good dude, right? Legend, awesome player, right? And I'm going to give you a little behind the curtain story of a Jordan, right? I break down plays all the time. We break down plays on the pod and all that. So I can't remember what game it was, but you were playing for Buffalo. And I couldn't tell if it was a real cover 3 or like a match zone cover 3, right? And I blamed it on you a little bit. And I was like, I think Jordan Poyer messed up, blah, 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 right? And let up the long touchdown.
Dang.
I got into my social media, and actually, I didn't even do it because I don't even know how to like look at messages for a while. And like Instagram, my son goes, you got a message from Jordan Poyer? And I was like,
right away, you're like, well, I know
like,
that's
what?
about.
And I was like, uh-oh, okay. And it was like 2 or 3 days after it happened, and he reached out, and he was just like, hey, dude, like, all good, I respect your game, but we were playing this defense, and you were wrong. And I was just like, I got back to you, right? And I was like, I appreciate you telling me. Like, I'm not, Mr. Right about everything, but that was very cool of you, because you could have put me on blast, too.
No, it's good. You're the man.
And,
you're the man.
And, I try.
Well, we always
You're the
say
man.
watching Buffalo is one of the harder secondaries to assume what they're doing, because you guys do more than the average NFL team. So I would imagine it's a little frustrating at times as a player when you see, in this world we're in, everybody online, like, trying to figure out what you guys are doing. But that's also the job.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I apologize for even that. I look, that's just,
well, it's okay. When you're playing and you're emotional and, I don't worry. You don't need to apologize,
exactly.
man.
But, no, you're right, though. We did like to mix things up pre-snap, understanding, where our guys need to be when they need to be there.
Right.
And, obviously when you do that, there's a deception of what things could look like or should look like.
Right.
And so, I try not to get caught up anymore in that. I do believe that was probably before 2020. I'm totally in a different place in my life
you're maturing now.
For sure. So I apologize for that.
You don't need to apologize.
But love playing the game, love disguising, love messing with quarterbacks. It was a huge part of what we were able to do.
Right. Yeah, I always would say, I don't know what coverage this is, but they got everybody dropping where everybody is, right? Sometimes I would say that. Were you shocked that McDermott got fired?
Yeah, I was. Man, I love Sean, and I just, going there in 2017, going there same time as Sean and building that program to what it was, it was tough pill to swallow. And do I agree with it? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love Sean and what he was able to do. So much respect for him, his family. He was my neighbor this last year, and so I was able to go hang out with him and see him on more of a personal level. He was just somebody who, just a stand-up human being who you want representing your football team, your city. And, obviously I'm not in those meetings upstairs, nor do I have a say in what goes on. And, the decision happened. It is what it is. And, to be pivoting a little bit, I am happy that Joe Brady did get the job.
Right.
Moving forward. What that's going to look like, I'm not sure, but I do know that he has an understanding of what that culture is, what it needs to get over the hump. Not saying anything about the past, that they didn't, but at the same time, if there was somebody who I wanted to be in that position, it was Joe Brady. I love Joe Brady, his mind, his offensive mind. Even talk about disguising, having conversations with him, hey, what can we do here? What does this look like here? If we did this, how could it mess up the quarterback? All those little conversations, transition over to the game. So I love the hire in Joe. Do I agree with the fire of Sean? No, I don't. But it doesn't
Both
really
can
matter.
be true there.
Both can be true.
Right.
So, it is what it is, and we move on, and I'm excited for the future of Buffalo Bills football.
Have you spoken to Jim Leonard at all yet, or have any contacts through him?
What was so? Jim Leonard and I played in Cleveland.
I was going to say, I was like, did you guys play together?
Yeah, we played together in Cleveland. And anytime I ever talk about my football career, I always talk about Jim Leonard, Tashawn Gibson, Dante Whitner. My early days in Cleveland, those guys really paving the way for me to learn how to be a pro, learn how to watch film, learn how to study, learn how to, just be a pro, right? Yeah. And Jim is such a high IQ level. He was such a high IQ level football player.
Right.
And I seen how that transitioned over to him as a coach, right? Am I surprised? Absolutely not, because I've been in the meeting room with him.
Right.
I had a conversation with him. I didn't play in the Denver game when we flew, but I flew out there with the team. I talked to him before the game, and it was, I hadn't talked to him in years, but just kind of see it come full circle and see, him and his family get to come back to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And try to bring the championship. I know he's going to bring a new flavor. I know he's going to bring a new look, new style, and that's all good. And I'm excited for that hire that they brought Jim Leonard in.
Yeah,
I'm really
that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. I'm excited to see what the defense looks like too. How about the quarterback? Right. I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, at least in my
100%.
He's John Elway-ish. That's how I always kind of explain it. All right, but tell us, like, what do you guys think of Josh Allen, seeing him every day and the things he does, right? And just tell the audience about him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, first off, my love for Josh has always been and will forever be. Seeing Josh come in 2018 and seeing where he's at now. Like,
right.
I was still an old head in 2017. I was probably year 6, year 7 when he came into the league. So I see Josh as the young baby face, Josh Allen from Wyoming. Everybody
throwing crazy footballs everywhere. And you're like, man, right, right.
And then you see him hurdle Anthony Barr. And you're like, oh, shnikes. Like,
you can say that word. Don't worry.
Okay. I didn't know
You're good. You're good.
He just did that,
Yeah.
and so then you see him continue to develop and continue to be the face of the franchise, to the face of the NFL. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and the way he handles it, I think, is just spectacular. He played hurt the last probably 3-4 games of the season, and you see him in the interviews after the games, and people ask him, hey, I saw you, break your nose in the game. How you feeling? Oh, I'm good. Nothing hurts. And
right.
he just continues to go about his business. We've fallen up short a few times. Obviously one too many times that you'd like to count, and that's just part of it. And I know him as a football player, as a person. It's all about how you respond. And he's always responded with more, right?
Yeah,
like he
right.
always has, right? And maybe this new regime, maybe this new flavor, this new energy coming in, maybe that's the spark. But I do believe in Josh Allen. I think I said it when I signed in Miami. This was after I signed the dotted contract in Miami. I was out at a Buffalo Bills charity event. I said it on the microphone. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the game, and I'll go to battle with him 100 out of 100 times any day of the week. Love him as a teammate, love him as a friend. He's such a great dude. Jokes around. Sometimes his jokes are funny, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, right.
But just a great human being, man.
He really
is. You feel for him, again, because he's got the weight on his shoulders, right? Yeah, obviously, you pay that money, you're going to have those expectations, but, he's still a 26, 27, maybe 28, 29 now. But, you look back, I look back, when I was 26, 27, 28, I'm still figuring it out in life,
DM and me telling me I'm an idiot.
Yeah. There you go, right? Perfect example. He's still figuring it out, and so to a certain extent, he's still figuring it out, and he's going to continue to, keep grinding, and I know he'll come back with some fire and with some energy next season.
You mentioned the longevity. How long do you want to keep playing? Because did you ever think you could play that? It's not an era where guys are playing as long as you, especially at the level you've played at for so long.
Yeah, dude, I just wanted to get 1 year in the league when I got drafted.
Right.
I was a 7th round pick 218 to the Philadelphia Eagles. They cut me week 6 of the season. I ended up going to Cleveland. I just wanted to make it to the next day.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know I'd look back and be 13 years in the league deep. Honestly, just taking one day at a time, 1 year at a time, one season at a time, turned into 13. I'm grateful for it all, the ups, the downs, the good seasons, the bad seasons, because learned so much, learned more so, my identity, not just as an athlete, my identity as a person, which I think is just super important especially as we transition from playing football our whole life into real life. It is tough, right? And so that identity piece, I think, is important to continue to, look within and, understand who you are without all the lights, without all the accolades, without all the pats in the back, right? Because, it is more than a game. It is bigger than a game, but the game, I love playing.
Oh, I know, man. It never leaves you.
I love playing.
I'm 45, and I've been out forever, and I'm like, I'd love to go back and play. I just don't want to get hit and hurt.
Yeah,
but
that's part of it. But I'm gonna see. We'll see what happens. Whatever. I'm open to conversations. Open to, if I hang them up, I'll be okay looking back, and I'll be all right. But if I play again, let's suit them up and let's rock.
You got nothing to be ashamed. You left it all out there. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, even me, I wanted to play more, but I still look back at it and go, man, I worked my ass off. Like, I got no regrets. I got an unlucky injury, and you can move on with that.
100%.
I think when you know you've cheated yourself, you're that's when it stays with you and eats at you. All right, I want to hear about Breath of Life Tour, but just right off of that, just real quick before it. Did you think New England, when you played them this year, would be here in the Super Bowl? Like, did you think they were going to be a Super Bowl caliber team after the first time you saw them?
I mean,
you can be honest.
To be honest, the way the season went, like, who was like the super caliber
You're right.
team?
It was a weird year, right?
Right.
It was a weird year.
There's not. You can't really look like everybody seemed good every week, right?
Right.
Yeah. When we played against them, I knew they were a good football team.
Right.
They're a sound football team. They, to be honest, like, they play good football, right? Like they like complementary football. Offense, defense, special teams is all
right.
And those they don't make little mistakes.
They tackle.
They tackle exactly.
Right. The basics of football.
They throw, they catch.
Yeah, right.
And back to the fundamentals and to what I think is, like, how the way the football world is going, like, we're kind of losing.
We're losing it. I agree.
We're losing that.
I want to run this play. Check to that. And you're like, we don't know how to tackle or break down or do anything. Right.
And so, I've always been a fan of Vrabel, from when he was in Tennessee to obviously what he's been able to do in New England. And, I have contact with guys over there, and all of them said, bro, you love Vrabel. And I mean, I see why. It looks like guys want to play for him. Looks like he's coached them to play good, sound football.
Yeah.
Not turn the ball over, although I'm sure there's some plays that boys want back, but at the same time, they're playing good complementary football that ultimately is why they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Breath of Life Tour. What do you got going on with them?
Yeah, so we mix multi-sensory, wellness, breath work, cacao, movement, and community, and music, and we bring it in together as an event. We're going on tour in May. We're going to be in Portland, we're going to be in Denver, we're going to be in Miami, and we're going to be in LA. And the idea is, again, bringing community together, learning about the power of the breath, learning about the power of connection together.
Yeah.
And the breath work has been a huge asset in my life, especially since I stopped drinking, and learning about breath work and learning about how to ground myself when chaos is happening, when so much is going on.
Right.
Before games, after games, throughout the week, to continue to ground myself to. It's really gaining awareness of your actions, of your choices, of your thoughts, and talking to yourself better, talking to yourself with more positive energy, right? Because I do believe we're all here to shine our light, and in order to do that, we have to detach from certain emotions, certain feelings, certain attachments, that we have in order to be our authentic self. And so these practices, these are ancient practices that have been around. Breathwork's been around since the beginning of time, but we're incorporating music, again, dance, connection, and we put together a really cool team to allow people in these certain areas, or if they want to fly in, to come have this experience. We've had multiple experiences in Buffalo, had multiple experiences in Miami, and it's just grown over the past year and a half. So I'm extremely grateful to be even sharing the idea of this Breath of Life tour. And again, you can go on our website, tour.luminate.me, and it'll go on my Instagram, J_Poyer21. We literally just dropped it today, so I'm glad you guys asked that. That was super dope that you asked that. We dropped the details today, so yeah, check it out.
All right, we will check it out. It's a very cool thing you're doing.
Thank you.
Right, we do. We forget about we just talked about the basics of football. We forget about the basics of life. Right, and I'm like, literally, I have to talk to myself sometimes to breathe through my nose. And I'll be like, damn, I'm breathing through my mouth. I'm a little anxious or whatever else, and I'll realize, like, man, hold on. Take a deep breath and breathe, and it changed me. So very cool that you're doing that.
I appreciate that a lot.
And
I appreciate that a lot.
You're an awesome dude.
Yes.
You're a legend player, bro.
You're awesome.
All right,
I appreciate
and get at me on DM. All right, all right, ladies, whenever you want.
Yes.
Yo. Thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.